What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about the death of dealerships. Now we're going to go over exactly what's going on in the market that's causing so many dealerships to actually close their doors or to go out of business, how this may possibly affect prices going up, but more importantly, how this will actually give birth to a new way to buy and sell cars. So I'm sure if you drive around your area, whether you live in a big city or a small town, you've probably noticed independent dealerships closing up or dramatically shrinking their inventory. You may have happened to come across a big franchise store that's either completely closed up or actually decided to get rid of their franchise tag and sell only independent vehicles or used cars. Now, why is this? Now, we could blame it on the market or the banks, they're no longer lending, the economy slowed down, or the demand for brand new cars has pretty much gone up, and so people are going with those instead of buying used. But I think it's something else. I think it's the negative stigma surrounding independent dealerships. I believe Americans have basically had their fill of dealing with all the BS, and they're completely done with the games. Now, as a used car dealer for 20 years, I can't argue with you guys. I mean, the crazy stuff that some of these guys do and how they get away with it and the shady deceptive practices, everybody knows hey, I'm looking at this beautiful car. How much is it? Oh, it's $29,000. But then you go down to the dealership. What do they tell you? Oh, it's $37,000. You're like, what the hell? Where'd all these fees come from? You look at something, hey, I want to trade in my car. Yeah, we'll take your own car in a trade, no problem. You drive all the way down there, and then they tell you they don't want your trade, or they give you like $500 for it. There's always something there. They tell you they got you financed, and then all of a sudden they tell you they can't get you financed, bring the car back, or give them $5,000. I always hear these problems back and forth about, why dealers not taking care of them, why people hate them. So I think all this craziness reached a boiling point during the pandemic because people were just fed up with all the BS and deceptive practices. Now, the reason why I started my dealership, Panda Auto Sales, is because everything's in black and white. If the car is $20,000, it's $20,000. It comes with a 9-day warranty, that's it. If you ask me to drop the price, I'm going to tell you no. If you want $500 off, I'm like, sure, I'm going to take off the warranty. The price is what it is. Do you like it? Great. If not, go buy somewhere else. No problem, no headache, no fighting, no arguing. I don't want to deal with the drama. And I think this model is starting to kill off a lot of the older traditional dealers. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing, which I'll explain here in a minute. Now, everybody knows CarMax. CarMax has been around for, I think, 15 or 18 years. Everybody liked that approach. When they're like, hey, look, the car's a flat price. I can go in there and buy it. But the downfall is if I get a good deal on a car, I usually sell it for under book. Those models do not. So if I bought a car for a smoking deal, I'm charging full retail plus 20%. That's what these companies do. Now, CarMax had to eat its lunch during the pandemic because they had so many cars on their lot that when the market went crazy, they couldn't raise the prices. They just had to sell them for what they were at. And so after they got sold out and basically had no more cars, they had to start overpaying just like everybody else. But then they got their lunch handed back to them because in 2023, they couldn't sell anything. Their cars were so overpriced. And if you looked at all their lots, you can look at my channel, probably a Brandon Car Questions Answer channel. We all walked CarMax and the cars were just everywhere. They couldn't get rid of them at the auction, at their own lot, because they were too overpriced. When every other dealer started walking back their prices, they had to hold firm because that is their business model. And this is the double-edged sword of when it comes to doing fixed pricing. Now, another one that I want to talk about that's slowly changing the market is AutoNation. Now, I think AutoNation is either the first or second biggest auto group in the United States. Now, the reason why I bring them up is because they own a bunch of franchise stores, Ford, Toyota, Honda, Mercedes, BMW, but they opened their first used car center here in Las Vegas 2 years ago. And it scared the hell out of me because I knew that if they opened up, it would completely change the game. Fixed pricing, but with franchise budgeting and selling ability. Now, you may ask yourself, well, why does this even matter? How does this even change the game? As an independent dealer, I can only sell certain things for certain prices. So if this car is worth, let's just say, $20,000, more than likely the bank's going to allow me to sell it for maybe 110% LTV. So if you want to include sales tax, no money down, that's what I could sell it for. Where the franchise guy can not only sell this for more than retail, he can add on no money down plus maybe $5,000 or $7,000 on the back end for warranties or some other accessories. Maybe you want some mud flaps or car mats or whatever the thing is, but they can add all that on to your financing. And they can go all the way up to maybe 160%, where maybe 110 is the max if you have good credit. Another thing, like I said, they can go full retail on everything. They have access to all the banks. Even if you have good credit as an independent, it's hard for me to work with credit unions. They don't give me the same rates. So if my best rate is, let's say, 5%, the franchise stores can do maybe 3%. They actually have banks where they could buy down their rate. Sometimes it doesn't work for me like that in the same way. So they have a much bigger tool arsenal to get you into a car. Now here's the part that's gonna boggle your mind. Because CarMax and AutoNation can sell used cars for more money, that means that they can pay more money for used cars. So all these guys are going out here paying, more than what me as an average independent dealer. If I know I can only sell it for 90 to 100% of LTV, I have to buy it maybe $3,000 or $4,000 back a book. So if this car is $10,000, I'm probably gonna wanna buy it for close to $8,000 so I can make enough money for my $2,000 profit. Them, they don't care. They could pay the $10,000 for the car because they got another $3,000 to $5,000 on the back end of where they can make their money, just like a franchise store. Because on new cars, you can't really, well, you can mark them up because of the pandemic, but most times you can't. You have to make your money on the back end. And they're just doing the exact same model to the used car market. And this is what scares me because, like I said, it is great that, now it's a fixed price. You get what you get, no arguing, no fighting, but now you're gonna have to pay more money for the exact same car. So that's why I said, as independent dealerships start to close up and go out of business, you're gonna see companies like CarMax, AutoNation, and a few of these other ones, I can't remember, they're all over the United States, start to pick up that market share and take away from those smaller independent dealers. Now, I was hoping to open up a dealership here in Vegas so I can sell cars to, locals here as well as you guys here on YouTube, but that's one of the things that's kind of gotten me, to pause and think about it and make sure I get the right spot and keep my overhead low, because this is what I'm gonna have to compete with in the next few years. And it's only gonna grow more because AutoNation, they got billions of dollars. They could buy out all the dealerships, the franchise stores that closed in your small town. They're gonna buy that and they're gonna stuff that full of every single used car that will absolutely crush any small independent dealer. And on top of that, imagine the selection. When you come to my lot, all you got is what I have in front of me. That's just it. But it's just like compared to a small mom and pop store to Amazon. Amazon, oh, you don't like what I have here? Check out my inventory. I have stuff all across the United States, $500, I can ship it to you tomorrow. Just like CarMax. You can literally look at a car in Las Vegas and you're like, you know what? I see this other car, it's in New York. No problem, we'll get you approved and we'll ship it here. I'll be here in a week. How are small independent dealers gonna compete with that? Now, I know a lot of you guys are gonna be laughing like, screw the independents, we don't care, we don't need them, all dealers suck. I'll put it this way. Dealerships do suck. There are a lot of good people, but they are business owners and they are part of your community. But more importantly, independent dealers are more worried about their name than franchise stores. You can Google AutoNation, you probably won't find, a bunch of negative reviews because they're a big corporation. They don't care. They can pay Google to make them go away. So there is no sense of community. There is no sense of keeping up pride. There's no sense of taking care of your car, even if it falls apart in 2 days from now. And that's where I think the fall off is going to be, because they don't like to fix their own cars. Everything they sell is a third-party warranty. They do not want those cars coming back to their stores because they know the headache. This is why most franchise stores don't sell used cars, because they don't want to deal with this problem. They want independent dealerships to do this. This is why when everyone says, we don't need dealers, we're going to do what Elon does, we're going to sell direct to consumer. That's why I tell everybody, it'll never work for the used car market, because someone has to fix these cars. Big franchise stores don't want to replace the motor. They don't want to have to paint bumpers and do any of these other things. So every time you get a good deal, it's more than likely because an independent dealer picked it up, fixed it, brought it back to life, and is not into it that much and can pass on the savings to you. So this is the balancing act that we have. Like I said, we have the new model, which is great. That's going to help you get a car at a fixed price with no BS. But the downfall is you're possibly going to pay 10 to 20% more than what you would have if you would have bought it from a small independent dealer. But anyways, let me know your opinions in the comment section below. What do you think of this new model? Do you think it's going to revolutionize the industry? Even though, like I said, CarMax has been doing it forever. Do you think AutoNation is going to be opening these things up all part of the country and take over your area? But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Instagram @LuckyLopez, and we'll see you next video.